So just a couple days ago, Donald Trump threatened Iran on Truth Social. He posted that the US will obliterate all of Iran's power plants if Iran doesn't fully open the Strait of Hormuz within the next 48 hours. So this is probably last Saturday, I believe. And then Iran responds with a counter threat that if Trump follows through with his threat, then Iran will be compelled to respond. And what they would do is they would completely shut down the strait. Completely and totally shut down the strait to everyone. And they will irreversibly destroy all vital, critical infrastructures in the Gulf, and that includes energy facilities, that includes IT, essential IT infrastructures, and what is also the most critical element here are water desalination facilities. That in that event, when Iran takes those out, there has to be major evacuations of major cities in the Gulf. Now, what happens after that is in the early hours of Monday, Trump puts out another Truth Social post. He says that the United States is having productive talks with the Iranian counterparts, and effectively they're doing a 5-day ceasefire. 5-day ceasefire, and they're going to hold back from targeted against Iranian energy infrastructures. Well, now it has been extended to another 10 days, but initially this was at 5 days. So right after that, the Iranians came out and they just clarified the fact that we're not having any talks or negotiations with anyone. And they put out a bunch of memes from their embassy in the States. They start trolling Donald Trump on social media. And what happens is that they also kind of mention the Iranian Speaker of the Parliament. He mentions that Trump is creating an illusion to manipulate the markets and try to get out of this quagmire that they just got themselves into, so that he gets time. So that he gets time until the markets close, and he can kind of work on his next course of action with regards to this war. Now, with particularly the analysis here. Now, if you look at the bond markets, if you look at the treasuries, how they reacted, like as the news cycle flowed, and particularly on the 10-year yields on the treasuries, you notice that when Trump made the announcement that day at 7:04 a.m., the yields, they sharply fell from 4.45 to 4.32%. And then as soon as Iran denied Trump's Trump's negotiations, the yield rebounded to 4.38%. Now, the analysts are very clear on this, that the United States cannot afford the 10-year yield to be at a 4.5%. This is unsustainable. This is not something they could deal with. They could sustain it for a longer time. And then this 5-day ceasefire that Trump does, which has been extended to another 10 days, it's very interesting that if you notice that this 5-day ceasefire leads to the next weekend until the markets close. By when the US and by the end of the 10-day ceasefire, what you have is another weekend, and hopefully it is expected by then. The analysts are expecting that by then, all of US troops will be in position for a major combat operation. And when the markets close, this gives him an opening to conduct a military operation in Iran and see how it transpires. What you can clearly note is that he's playing the markets. This is a president whose foreign policy and his economic policies as well have been dictated by the markets, has been dictated by the stock markets. And he's clearly playing the markets in order to keep the US treasuries safe. This is not even the first time this is happening. This is not even the first time this is happening. A lot of people have been taken off by surprise, and they think it's the first time that Trump is kind of causing, kind of playing the markets. But the last time Donald Trump, you could go back to when the tariff wars happened against China. That was the last time when he did it, and he kept and he kept like imposing this unprecedented amount of tariffs against China, and he kept hedging against them, and China wouldn't buckle for a moment, and then he puts out this announcement that we're currently having talks with China, when in actual fact he wasn't having these quote-unquote talks with China.